I'm doing the reading video now. I did the math one first, and after I uploaded it, I realized that my clock was ticking in the background, and that may make it a little bit hard to hear what I'm saying, but I did listen to it, and I think it'll be okay. But I have stopped the pendulum from swinging, so we won't have that noise in this video. Your phonics skill for today actually is an English skill. It's actually a skill that we've already done. Most of what we're doing at this point in the year is review, and it's on pronouns. And we know that pronouns are words that can take the place of a noun, so that you don't have to keep repeating the same words over and over. So I have some examples on a sheet that's attached to your mom's and dad's email. They can pull it up if they'd like. But I'm just going to go over some examples from that sheet. The sentence on the page says, Anna and Kayla liked watching the monkeys. Blank thought the snakes were scary. Well, my subject has two names in it. So I need a pronoun that means two. I could replace the words Anna and Kayla with the pronoun they, and I could say they thought the snakes were scary. The second sentence says, a snake looked at the girls. Now, in the sentence, it doesn't tell me if the snake is a boy or a girl, because I know some of you are going to tell me it could be he or she. But because the sentence doesn't relay that information to me, I can't use he or she, so I have to use a pronoun that just names an object. So I can call the snake it. It flicked a long tongue at them. Anna asked Kayla, do you want to see the giraffes next? Well, Kayla is one person, and it's a girl, so I'm going to replace the word Kayla with the pronoun she. And the sentence says, she replied, yes, I want to see their long necks. The girls watched a peacock strut down the path. Again, peacock is one. The sentence does not tell us if it's a male or female peacock. So I'm going to have to just use a word that means one object, and that would be it. Suddenly it spread out its beautiful feathers. You know, that very well may be a boy, I'm not sure. Do girls have the feathers? I know some of my boys, Liam and Paxton and Whit, could probably tell me if girl peacocks have feathers. And then the last sentence says, Kayla's father told them it was time to leave the zoo. We're talking about Kayla's father. That's one subject. Kayla's father is a man, so we would replace Kayla's father with the pronoun he. And if you can see that cat, that's Lucy. He was glad the girls had enjoyed the animals so much. Now today, for reading, your targets are, I can explain the meaning of imagery, I can identify kinds of imagery, I can compare and contrast the two settings of the story, and I can listen to a story for comprehension and enjoyment. So you and your mom, or your dad, or whoever's working with you, can read this to you. You can take turns reading to each other, however you would like to do it. But if we review lesson part 1, when I read even the first page, the amount of imagery, the pictures that I saw in my mind's eye were just overwhelming. The warehouses with their windows blinded by dust. They're windows, but they're so dirty you can't see through them, so they're blinded. The telephone and electric poles web the sky. You see the lines hanging like a spider web. I mean, you can see those images in your mind and understand what the author is trying to get you to see in your mind. The weeds cling to the slopes of the concrete walls, so it's almost like spider webs growing on the wall, and they hang on to that wall. There's just so much imagery and so many pictures that you can see in your mind as you're reading it. So you're going to read the second part today, and you're going to find even more images that stand out in your mind. Your vocabulary words for this story are, I have suffix ed, and I have a final stable syllable. This word is jangle. I already know. some of us are going to pronounce this one way, some of us are going to pronounce it another, but some of us say syrup, some of us say syrup. And the last one is wilderness. Now, wilderness is like where trees and plants grow and they're undisturbed by people. The animals make their homes there, but it's a very unbothered area of trees and plants and animals. So your vocabulary sentences are the spoons and forks drop and jangle in the sink. You can hear that clattering sound if you think about what happens when you drop your spoon and fork into the sink. Pancake syrup is thick and sweet, and we found pine cones and saw deer in the wilderness. Before you start reading, you need to think back to part 1 and answer these questions. Where does the boy in the story live? What does the city sound like? You can hear those sounds in your mind. And then how does the secret place sound different from the city? So you're comparing the sounds you hear in the city to the sounds that you would hear in the secret place. And when I read through the second part especially, I could not help but think of Coy and Judson, because I know how much they like to be in nature, and Mr. Jacob as well. So you're going to read that section. When you get to the end of the passage, you have 2 workbook pages front and back, 275, 276, 277, and 278. And these are comprehension pages. They're practice with pronouns, and they're practice with similes, which is when you compare something to something else, flat as a pancake. I have all kinds of cats in here right now. This is a little girl who is not so little. Over to the side, I don't think you can see, is Brady. Toby's laying on the floor again, and Lucy's in the chair with the phone. But when you get finished reading the story, answer the questions on page 59 so that you make sure that you understand it, so that when you have a test over this, you can answer the questions that you need to know, and then do those 4 workbook pages, and they are for a grade. So make sure you take your time and do your very best on them.